Mr. Wiseman, you've got a lot of history in corporate law. Give me a little primer on corporations and their involvement in politics and their ability to spend money. Have they always been able to spend money in politics? Is it unique to America? Different countries allow them to spend money in politics, and what's the growth or diminution of that?
Well, I think that the statement which was correctly read from Justice Scalia in his decision that the original text permits corporations to spend, the original text of the First Amendment permits corporations to spend money is inaccurate. I think Justice Stevens gave a much richer and more correct reading. The framers never intended corporations to spend money, and there was a lot of reason to think that they explicitly did not want them to. Justice Scalia's only argument really is that there was the lack of evidence, not that there was an affirmative evidence to enable corporations to spend money. In the early 19, as you do know, we do have a history of corporations spending money. It varies by state. In the original Gilded Age, we had corporations and the robber barons overwhelming elections and really running as party bosses. There were reforms put in place to curb that activity, and those reforms worked relatively effectively throughout much of the 20th century. Corporate spending itself really had not been given. There had been a series of restrictions on corporate spending, and the Supreme Court itself, in an important decision, Austin, had recognized that the unique nature of corporations, their unique ability to gather enormous sums, meant it made a lot of sense for the Congress or localities and states to have the ability to restrict corporate outside spending. That was thrown to the wind in Citizens United. And Mr. Smith is correct. We have not seen the torrents that were anticipated. We calculated about $500 million have been spent by corporations since the Citizens United decision was handed down, not a small amount, much of it in really significant ways. In local and state elections, as well as in referenda, we see corporations increasingly exerting an overwhelming effect with great harm. That's probably more than I could do to, right now, give you a cross-cultural story about it. But Citizens United really was a break from precedent, both historic, jurisprudential precedent, but also from the previous 100 years of American experience.